You are listening to episode 212 of the Peaceful Mind Podcast. Welcome to the Peaceful Mind Podcast, a place for creating the peace of mind you need to be the best mom you are created by God to be. If you want to bring more balance, more joy, and more peace to your motherhood, this is the place for you. I'm your host, certified life coach and Catholic mom, Danielle Tino. In the name of the Father, of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, let's get started. Hello, everyone. You are in for such a treat today. I think this may go down as being my absolute favorite podcast episode to date. And I love a lot of episodes that I've done before, so this is saying a lot. But let me tell you why this one is so special. It is because I will be interviewing 5 of my current clients who are in my Busy to Balance life coaching group. Now, I know that I've done a couple interviews with current clients. They were in the one-on-one capacity done before, but this one is an inside perspective. I'm calling it Motherhood Reimagined because I want you to listen and I want you to start reimagining what could be possible for you if you we're on the inside like these 5 moms are. So I'm so excited to introduce you to Natalie, Brenna, Megan, Emily, and Ashley. And I want to just thank them again for giving their time and their words to come be able to speak with you all on behalf of Life Coaching with Danielle Tino Coaching. I am humbled by you. I continue to be in awe of how you keep showing up for yourself and your motherhood. As I mentioned to you before we kind of started the recording, I believe that I am a channel for peace and life coaching, and the tools and strategies that I provide for you all are really what is at the crust of your transformations, the ones that you speak about today. So without any further ado, I want to welcome you to the inside perspective from clients of mine, and I hope that you will open yourself up to what could be possible for your mom life and join us. Please join us on the inside. So I'm welcoming you to Motherhood Reimagined, where real moms are going to share their journey with life coaching with you today. And here we go. All right, everyone. I'm so excited to introduce you to my clients, Natalie, Brenna, Megan, Emily, and Ashley. So let's start with Natalie. Everyone, I would love you to tell the listeners a little bit about yourself and your family, and also what were your top feelings that you were having before you joined Busy to Balanced, and what are they now that you've been in the program and been coaching with me? We're going to start with you, Natalie.
All right, thank you. I am a stay-at-home mom to 3 kids. My kids are 11, 9, and 6. I've been married for 16 years, and when I joined, my feelings were overwhelmed, anxious, and discontent. After nearly a year, I feel much more aware of my feelings and lean more towards confident and committed to doing the work. It's not always easy, but it is always worth the work. And that's where the confidence has come in, doing the work and seeing the changes.
So good. Thank you so much. Okay, Brenna.
Thank you. So I have 3 kids. My oldest is almost 6, and I have twins who are 3. I've been married for about 8 years.
My fellow twin mom.
Yes. And I am primarily a stay-at-home mom, and I'm currently in my first year of homeschooling. My oldest, he's in kindergarten. I am a pharmacist by trade, and I work part-time about a few days a month. And when I started the program about 4 months ago, my feelings were overwhelmed, discouraged. I felt a lack of control and anxious. And now I definitely am much more confident as a mom and very aware of my thoughts and my feelings, and and also a calm and peace that I did not have before.
I love it. Thank you so much. Okay, Megan.
Hello there. My name's Megan, and I have been married for 20 years, and I have a 17-year-old and a 14-year-old daughters, and I'm also a business owner. And Danielle's actually seen me transfer from working full-time in state government to like fully moving into my own business. And when I started with Danielle, I would say I was worried and anxious a lot. And I had a real scarcity around time and money. And now I really feel at peace and feel like I can take on anything without it having to really impact me emotionally and physically. And really like I can take on the world.
Thank you, Megan, for sharing that. Love it. Emily, we'll go with you next. I'm going to ask you to unmute.
Hi.
Hi, Emily.
Of course, my name is Emily. I've been married for 28 years to Bob, my husband, who recently retired from financial services after 40 years in financial services last October. I work for Army recruiting full time. I have a 22-year-old son who is in the Army Reserve and just recently came back from Kuwait. And when I first started, I think I felt inadequate, unhappy, and unsure of myself. And now I've learned I'm not the bad mom my mother told me I was.
Yes, you absolutely are not.
And that I'm better at it than I thought. And I'm learning financial things, mothering things, Catholic things. So I'm learning a lot in this program.
I love it. You all, my heart is bursting. All right, Ashley.
Hello, my name is Ashley. I am a wife to my husband of 13 years, and a mother of 5. We have children that are 11, 9, 7, 4, and 1. I'm a speech pathologist by trade, but have transitioned into a stay-at-home mom role. Life is always changing and our circumstances are always changing. So Danielle has seen me through this change as well. Before I joined the Busy to Balance group, I struggled a lot with anxiety, overwhelm, self-doubt, and I was apprehensive to join the group. But since I've joined, I feel the biggest feeling I feel is grateful. Grateful for being a part of something that I can relate to other moms to. Grateful for having a bunch of tools that I can draw upon. And so I feel overall more confident in myself since I've joined.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Ashley. Okay, everyone. So I'm going to circle back and start with Natalie, but I just know that, the next kind of questions I want for you might be a little bit more fluid back and forth. Let me know if you want to jump in on any of these. But what I want to help the listeners kind of go back, and for you, it might take a little bit of thinking here, but kind of go back to that place before you had, I guess, right when you heard about the group or heard about me and learned about life coaching in general. And kind of, I want you to try and remember that state you were in. Maybe there was some specifically going on in your life. And there must be something that made you, what you read or saw, or maybe it's once you met with me, that made you think, I want that. Maybe it was like, I need that, but then also that you want that. So when you discovered the program. So Natalie, I'm going to start with you.
Okay. So I had the feeling that there was more for me personally, more than the overwhelmed and anxious woman that I felt like most of the time. I wanted to feel in control, and I wanted to feel less spread thin, and I wanted to feel peaceful. Just overall, that was the feeling that I craved. And that's actually what brought me to your podcast, Danielle, was the Peaceful Mind Podcast. I felt like that was made for me. I kept trying to do it on my own. I was listening to books and podcasts, and it wasn't bad, but it was incomplete for me. I actually listened to the podcast for about a year before I
Oh, wow.
decided to reach out to Danielle. I kept thinking, I can do this on my own. I've got this. But I wasn't doing a great job. And then I realized what I really needed was someone doing it with me. And that's when I reached out to Danielle, and I felt an instant connection that first time that we talked, and just felt like I knew that you would be able to take me where I was not able to go myself. And your Christ-centered approach felt like the missing link.
Yeah, I think that is so important for me to reiterate right here, because you are definitely not alone in that. And I hear it a lot. And I get it, because I myself, when I was in my really overwhelmed period, I kept thinking, I'm smart. I have a college degree. Like, I should be able to figure this out on my own. And that is a way of thinking that a lot of moms have. So you're not alone in that. So I hope that a listener who right now believes the same thing, that I should be able to figure this out on myself. Maybe you want to look and say, well, you know, there is something else. There's something else that could make that journey click easier, help you get there faster. And would you say, Natalie, that that's kind of like what you saw happening once you gave over that maybe the help is what I need?
Yes, that's exactly what I felt. And we don't want to say that we have regrets, but I just wish I would have jumped into it sooner and stopped trying to just grit through it on my own and do it on myself, because we all need help. And when there's somebody there ready and willing to help us, we just need to accept that help.
Yes. Okay. Who else wants to add to that? Who else has? Yes, Megan.
I will just add that I wish I had had Danielle when my kids were little, because I really, really struggled when I had little kids. I was in my friend group. I was the first to have children, so none of my friends could relate. And then we moved away from most of our friends, and I was so alone. And I just feel like, oh my gosh, what a difference it would have made if I had had some of these tools and had the camaraderie of hearing other moms' stories that really made me feel like I wasn't alone. I could almost get a little teary thinking about it right now, like how much I wish I had it when I was at that stage of life. But for me personally, when I started working with Danielle, the one thing I really wanted to get out of it, my first real goal was getting over this real scarcity mindset that I had been ingrained in through growing up in my family. And I saw that Danielle had that, and I knew that there had to be a way to learn that from her. I'm still working through it. I mean, those things are deep.
We're all a work in progress.
But I will say that like now I'm like leaps and bounds from where I was when I first started. And that, that's just one little thing that's helped me through being a part of this program. But that was the first thing that brought me in. And it was really hard for me to make that financial commitment, because I was coming with this scarcity mindset, first of all, and like, we don't have enough money. And then also, trying to talk to my husband about it, who has a bit of a scarcity mindset too, all of that. And that commitment really has improved my life in so many ways.
Well, what would you say? I want to address the first part you said, because that's exactly, I have teenagers now, and my kids were in middle school. And I always was saying that as well. At first, I was saying, oh, if only I'd had this when I was younger, I would have escaped some of the pain of, and the guilt that I carried. But I always say it's never too late, right? No matter, we're going to be moms forever. Okay. And we will need the tools, and we'll need the help and support and the strategies at every single stage of motherhood. But I am also always saying to the moms who commit earlier when the kids are younger, I always am saying like, oh, you're doing yourself and your family a huge favor and benefit by starting early, right? So I relate to that. And then I want to ask you, so I think that a lot of listeners and a lot of people even take the the step to come to a call with me to find out if we're a fit and find out if this is something that would help them too, they often come up with the same kind of objections you have about, I don't know if I can have the money or if I should spend it on myself when there's other things, or the talk with my husband. But you ultimately did. Now you're saying you're on the other side and it was so worth it. But can you just speak to what was it that made you take the leap despite all of that?
Well, I think, you and I had first talked and I knew I wanted to do it then. And I just kept thinking about it and thinking about it. And just like Natalie said about like listening to the podcast and like it took her a year. Well, I had been trying to work on this scarcity mindset thing through listening to other podcasts, reading books, and I knew I needed that one-on-one help. And I do believe that there's so much to it that the group really helps with. And I don't know what else to say except for that, it really has helped me. And it was very difficult for me to make that financial commitment. And now I am so happy that I've done it.
Yes. So good. Thank you for elaborating. Is there anyone else here who wants to speak to what it was they were experiencing before Ashley?
Well, I discovered Danielle's podcast when I was jogging through the neighborhood, pushing a double stroller at the time. Trying to, exercise always made me feel good. It was the thing that I would do that I could control that I knew would make me feel better. That and my faith. So I discovered the Peaceful Mind podcast and I would listen every time I would take a jog in the neighborhood. And the things that Danielle put out there, the value that she added just in the podcast itself, was so life-giving and so motivating to take a leap of faith and make that call, set up that first call with you. I thought to myself, how can I get to work with her? I just was kind of giving it to God, asking him to make it happen for me. I was so drawn on the fact that you were a Catholic life coach, and that some of the thoughts that you choose or ingrain even came back to our faith. That made me feel so good inside as well. And the whole principle about the divine order that we talk about a lot, and putting God first and then yourself and then everybody else you have to take care of. Because I think at that stage of my motherhood, and it still is this way, it's very easy to put everybody else's needs ahead, but we really truly need to work on our own thoughts and ourselves before we can show up and be the best we can for our kids. And this is all stuff that Danielle's life coaching has really, really helped me learn. And it's taken away the guilt. I don't feel guilty to work on myself now. In fact, I'm a better mother and I show up. My kids notice a difference. My husband notices a difference. So, yes, it was all on a run, and I'm so happy that I committed to this.
Thank you, Ashley. And so what do you think about the fact that somebody right now is on a run and listening to the Peaceful Mind podcast and listening to your voice now come across into their AirPods?
Wow, that's pretty exciting.
Yeah,
I hope
right?
I can be an influence on others the way that you've influenced me. So yeah.
Pretty cool thinking that, huh?
Just do it.
Yeah. All right. Anyone else want to, go ahead, Brenna.
I just think back to when I had that first initial call with you at where I was, and I was about a year out from transitioning from being a full-time pharmacist to stay-at-home mom, mostly with the kids. And one of the reasons I had went from being full-time to stay at home was because I felt like I wasn't present with my kids. I wasn't physically present with my kids, right? And so I went to being a stay-at-home mom, and here I was after a whole year of being home with them, and I still felt like I wasn't present with them. I was pretty much emotionally not present with them because of all just the distractions and everything to do around the house, and just the everyday life. And so, my circumstance had changed. I changed my circumstance to be home with my kids, but really I felt like nothing had really changed. And in that first call, I think you kind of, made me realize that my circumstance changed, but hey, nothing really changed because I didn't do anything to make the changes. And I think in that initial call, having your outside view of what was really going on. And I remember one specific moment of me saying, well, I don't know how to be, I was playing with my kids, but I didn't feel present because I was thinking of all the house chores that I had to do. And it was that I think you coached me on, well, I didn't make a strong decision of what I wanted to do in that moment. So I was doing one thing, but I was still contemplating, well, should I be doing this instead? And that was just something, I mean, that would never have crossed my mind. I wasn't aware of that at all. So that was in my initial call with you. And I had listened to your podcast for a while as well, and was always thinking, oh, I could just do it on my own. I don't want to spend the money. I don't want to take the time. I'll read the book and I'll just listen to the podcast. But once I had that initial call, there was just things that you pointed out that I had never thought of before. And it really changed it and made me think, oh, I need to continue on this journey with you.
You make a couple good, really great points there, Brenna, that I would just want to highlight. And one is that, yes, I put out the podcast and wrote the book, right? And have some other, resources out there because I want to be able to help as many people as possible. And I hope that those kind of resources can make an impact. Because I'm only one person, and this is what I teach my mamas too, right? Like we're one human with limited time and energy, and I can only, have so many coaching sessions and things like that. But I wanted to point out to you that it is different to consume me, I guess, is the phrase I'm looking for. Listening to the podcast, it's a whole nother level. Yes, would you all agree? To actually come in to the program and apply the work, like put the action in motion. So that's one point I want to say. Again, I love all my listeners, all my book readers, everyone who consumes. I hope that it helps them if they can take it and run with it. But it is different to get, like, I know how to do all of the stuff that I teach you all, but I still have my own coach, right? So because it's a whole different level and applying it to my own life and my own circumstances. So that's one point that you brought up that was really good. And the other one sort of slipped my mind, but I'll remember it here in a second. Because I know there was kind of like a theme. And see, it came back. I just needed to keep talking. And that is, you said that you had changed your circumstances, right? You went from having that outside job to being a stay-at-home mom. And sometimes we do that, right? Sometimes we do change our circumstances. But who I want to help is, and how I want to show mamas is that, like when I met with you on your call, like you're talking about, I have this fire inside of me to say, if you don't change what's going on the inside, then you're still going to keep producing the same results you actually did and how you felt even though you had a different job. It's like the circumstance changed, but your brain didn't. You brought that with you into your stay-at-home momness, right? So all the same questions you had about, yourself or life or your goals when you were working outside didn't change just because your job changed. So that's where I get really passionate, is that of talking about making the transformation, right? By the renewal of your mind. Anyways, okay. We're still on this second question, right? And I just want to add, before we move on to the next one, Emily, do you know what it was you were experiencing before you said join Busy to Balance, where you were and what you read about me or heard about me that you were like, I need that help?
Can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I was like, I liked, I got the emails from you, and which was great about the podcast. So I, tried the free call. I tried the free call. I met with you for 30 minutes, like it was Labor Day weekend or something. And I liked your perspective and how you turned everything around, because like my mother and other family members thought I was a bad mom because I was a working mom. I always worked. I had my son in childcare and whatever the case may be. And their opinion was, their thoughts were the best moms were stay-at-home moms. And Danielle told me that's not necessary. That's not true. A mom is a mom, whether she stays at home or goes to work, and you always do the best for your children. So she got my confidence back as a mom, even though my son was a little older, late teen at the time or whatever. But
they're still our babies. They'll always be our babies.
That's right. So I got my confidence, and she helped me through when he went to the military, he decided to enlist and all that good stuff. And it's a tough decision. And again, oh, you're a bad mom. No mom will put their kid in the military. Everybody's different. Every kid is different. And I think the military has done a world of good for him. It's given him a lot of direction and a lot of training and stuff like that. So, I saw something on the internet, Danielle. I thought of you that would be a great commercial for you. This girl comes on and she says, I'm an American and you have to mother like you don't work and you have to work like you don't mother. And I said, that's where you need busy to balance, because how can you mother like you don't work? And I said, oh my God, Danielle, with that. This is our culture.
What I love about that, Emily, is that this is what all moms that we want to that I'm helping you all recognize, is that society will throw all kinds of things on us. And we've taken that onto ourselves and really developed this belief system that isn't serving us anymore. It's not helping us. And so through coaching, we get to uncover all of that and question, right? We all, grew up in certain environments and grew up with certain beliefs of what's possible for ourselves and our self-concepts. And I help you see that, like, even though, and as Emily speaks to, you've got other people offering all of their opinions about your motherhood and what you should and shouldn't do. Whereas I help you become empowered to make these decisions for your own self and your own family. We all have, we're all in different stages of motherhood. We have different circumstances that we're dealing with. And I want you to have the calm confidence to make what decision is right for you. And then, of course, we want to, handle when our brain goes, a little wild about what other people will think about us, or does that make me a bad mom? Things like that. And we just want to question it all. So, and we do that inside the program. So I'm so glad you brought that up, Emily. Okay. This next one is so fun for me. Within Busy to Balance, and when you life coach with me and Danielle Teno Coaching, I offer you lots of tools and concepts and strategies and resources. And I just wanted to hear what you all, I know I've been asked this question too when I help other people on their podcast to explain my experience. And sometimes it's hard to keep it to just one. So I'm not going to make that like a hard and fast rule, but what material or concept has been the most helpful and the most impactful in your mom life? And just let me know how and in what way, and just kind of introduce to the listeners what was your most beneficial. I'm going to start with Natalie. Oops, sorry. I think I clicked the button to mute you. There we go.
We're good now.
Yep, we're good now.
It's kind of the basis of coaching that's made the most impact for me, but it's the model with the circumstance, thoughts, feelings, actions, result. Learning that, understanding it, and implementing that in my life has made so much difference. And I had a vague idea from listening to other coaching podcasts and just having very brief knowledge of it. But once I got into the coaching and was listening to you coach me and coach other women in the community, it just really opened it up for me and it made me feel empowered. I was no longer a victim to my circumstances. I actually hold all the cards. I get to choose my feelings. I get to choose my actions. I get to choose my results. And that felt really good. Knowing that I was in control gave me so much peace that I didn't even know was possible.
Yes. Okay. So what Natalie's referring to is the self-coaching model. I've actually done some podcasts about it. My brain right now can't tell me what the numbers were, and I speak to it in the other episodes. And so that is one of the main tools that we use. And there's nuances to it, right? And so there is this this time in the program when it is where you want to use it, but learn how to use it correctly, right? For your advantage.
And I think that's what that coming to the coaching calls makes the difference, is because we repeat it every call, every week, twice a week. You repeat it, you go over it with somebody. And so the more we hear it, the better we get at it, and the more automatic it becomes.
Yes. And that's another example of, you can hear me explain it on the podcast, and that's one thing. But when you're in the program, we actually utilize it and put it into action. And then that is what makes it something that is so, exponentially helpful for your mom life.
Definitely.
Okay. So thank you, Natalie, for that. Okay. Who else? What material or concept's been the most helpful? Okay. Emily?
I just want to add, of course, the coaching sessions, which you once or twice a week. The book, you have a couple of books. I know Cyclone Mom. I have to start read that one. But then the daily Bible one, I like that one. The daily, because there's so many fresh thoughts, and we always talk about how my thoughts go awry. But it's a short, quick reading to either start or end your day with a positive thought of religion, Catholic thought, a Catholic mom, Catholic thought, and it's just a great tool to help you, start the day. And then, of course, the workbook you gave us in the beginning, that has a lot of fun stuff to do in there. And if if we ever miss a podcast, we have the rebroadcast that you put out, which is great. So you never really miss anything. And I learned so much from being in the group and hearing the other moms, even though they're younger, say, "Oh yeah, I went through that," or it kind of makes you relive some things, or I know how she feels. And then I said, but then you think about it, you say, "Hey, I survived that. I raised my son to an adult, so that's a success." And the mom, you think the kid will never be toilet trained.
Right? Feels like
They'll
forever.
never get out diapers. I thought it was never going to. Then somebody said there are no kids who go to college in diapers.
That's right. I love that you brought that up, because I'm living that right now, right? I've got 2 in college, and it does, when you are in the throes of it all, we forget that this too shall pass, right? And it does, we know that everyone does tell us it passes more quickly than we'd like, and it is true. But what I just want to clarify for the listeners. So what you're referring to is that besides the Cyclone Mom Method book that I also have another book. It's not been marketed broadly, but it is available at any online bookseller, and that it's called the Peaceful Mind Bible for Busy Moms. And it's actually this podcast. It's taking the very first 100 episodes of this podcast and kind of making what Emily referred to as these short, bite-sized, kind of what I call treasures of wisdom to help you have more peace of mind. And then she mentioned there's a workbook that when you're in the program, you get sent. And so I just wanted to clarify that for any of our listeners. Okay. Anyone else have a tool or concept from the Mom's Toolbox or anything, Megan?
The 50-50 rule really hits home with me, and I use it constantly. If something's not going my way, I'm like, oh, life is 50-50. And then it helps me reflect on the 50 positive percent that I've recently experienced. And it helps me with my kids too, because they're teenagers. So, if they're going through a hard time, I just explain the rule, or, just anything specific, like a day at school could be 50-50, or interactions with their friends could be 50-50, or something like that. It just really...
I literally just taught this concept to a new one-on-one client, and I get so giddy at watching their mind just kind of open and feel a little bit like of relief onto themselves, that this is how life is supposed to be, but not that but in an empowering way, right? That's going to help you have more peace in those times that is rough and challenging and stuff. So yes, thanks.
To talk about another tool, but maybe somebody else wants to talk.
Let's see. Ashley or Brenna, do you have a tool or concept? Ashley.
I can go. I specifically, I love the feel your feelings, where we're stepping, just the process of stepping into an awareness of how you're feeling and accepting it, whether it be a good feeling or a not so good feeling, and leaning into that. And then and Danielle does such a great job at teaching us how to handle negative emotions, where we're identifying what it is in our body and talking through it. I know I'm not doing it justice right now, Danielle,
No,
but she
it's
has
fine.
a specific process for that. And then making adjustments in our life. So based on those feelings, and so I love the feel your feelings, and I think that and I also really love working through the model backwards as well. So I know Natalie talked about the model. That's like the biggest one, the biggest tool that I've found useful. But I know we didn't. I like to work through it, going the opposite way, where I can decide any results I want, identify the actions, talk about, identify the feelings and choose the thoughts I want, regardless of what's going on in my circumstance of life, to make things happen for me. So I've used a combination of all of those things daily, I would say.
So good. I'm going to just kind of follow up to your feel your feelings. Because here's the thing, right? We are not promised a trouble-free world. And we're trying our darndest to avoid feeling bad. And this feel your feelings concept and strategy that Ashley's referring to is here in the program. I want mom's superpower to be that they actually just know how to feel a negative feeling, because when you know how and go through the process, then it passes a lot sooner. I think it's an opposite way than people believe. I don't want to feel it. I just want to go away. I want to push it under the rug. I want to avoid it. But that action actually makes it grow, whereas the opposite. So, yeah, I love that one too. I love that one too. All right. For time's sake, I'm going to just move on. Anything else that you want to add that has helped you with, because there's lots of aspects, right, to the program. Anything else you want to add that has helped you inside of being part of the Busy to Balanced Life coaching group? Okay. How about we move to, how will you, now knowing how to be calm, how to create your confidence, and how to be more in control of your life, and you being that confident mom, now that you know how to do that, which I teach you how to do inside the program, what impact is this having on your family? I'm going to go with Natalie.
Great. I'm ready. It's kind of a buzzword right now. People are talking about generational healing. From the moment that I knew I was going to become a mother, I knew I wanted things to be different for my family. I wanted to be a different kind of mom. I longed to break cycles and heal wounds that have been in my family lines for generations. And I felt so committed to that concept. But without the parenting manual that we don't get, I felt like I was constantly falling short and did not know how to achieve that. And now that I have the model and coaching, and I realize that I get to create whatever I want, I feel much more confident and prepared to make those changes and truly be that mom that I hoped to be before I had kids. Work towards that. I'm not that person yet, but I'm working towards it, and be the woman that mothers her children from a place of love. And I can be more aware and in control of my outcomes, and hopefully arming my kids with their own sense of confidence and power in the world while they've watched me strive for that.
Yeah, I love that last phrase, while they've watched you do it first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So beautiful. Thank you, Natalie. How about you, Brenna? How has this impacted yourself and your family?
Well, I think it's definitely helped me to show up as the mom I want to. And as I feel like when I show up calmer and peaceful, my kids also become calmer and peaceful. And they kind of, they feed off of how I'm feeling. So I do see them kind of acting, mirroring what I do in that way. And also just realizing that I get to, I think you use this word a lot, like create. So I get to create the life that I want me and my husband want for a family, so that I get to make the decisions that we think are best. And here you talk a lot about like, I don't have to do things, but I want to do things. So really focusing on that, really focusing on what's important and the priorities for our family, to really just develop and create what we want has really been very helpful.
So good. Thank you. How about you, Megan? How's this impacted your family?
So I think for my entire family, it's really impacted in many ways. Leading by example, your family is going to take so much of what you're doing, much more than if you tried to teach it to them. So for my daughters right now, so my oldest is a junior and we're heading into this phase of she's going to be an adult. She's going to be going on to the rest of her life and she's going to have adult problems, and adulting isn't super easy. And as I work with her through making decisions with going to college and the future, I have a level head around it, and I know it's 50-50, and I know that days are going to be hard and days are going to be good, and we're going to be able to address whatever challenge she has. And she's learning that as I'm assisting her through that. But at the same time, my husband is also learning how to be a little bit more level-headed, not go to the worst case scenario or that sort of situation which he might tend towards. And so I really think that has helped me get to this point, but also it's going to help them in their future. And I loved what Natalie said about, generational, changing this next generation, because I do really see a lot of how I was parented, which was wonderful, but also different, and really being able to, I think, kind of take control versus just be reactive a bit.
I love it. Thank you. Okay, Ashley?
So I think this has helped my family most by, setting a really good example. I know little eyes are always watching me, and on days that I'm coached, they can just tell. They walk in and they just know that something good happened. It's almost like after I work out, they know that mom is in a good mood. This is the mental workout room for me. This is where I can go and intentionally work on my thoughts. So I think just leading by example, this has been the best thing. And I think, Danielle, you always point out how important it is for moms to keep doing what fill their cup up, what they really want to do. I love how you say my ears just perked up when we're talking about like, well, what I really want is, and you're like, well, then do it. Like, let's figure out how we're going to make that happen. Because what a great life lesson for even our spouses and our children to observe that, guess what? We are going to really do what we want to do, stuff that fuels us and makes us happy. So, I think, given the circumstances of my really busy life, or what feels like is really, really busy, this has made me, show my family that, listen, mom wants to do something, and I'm going to find a way to make that happen. And there's this confidence there now, whereas in the past, I would have been more of a victim of my circumstances. And when mom's doing what she really wants to do, then everybody benefits. So this work has taught me that everything is in the present. We're not going to like reflect on the past so much. We're here and now, and today's a gift. I'm continually reminded of that.
So beautifully said, Ashley. Thank you. Okay, just for sake of time, I totally could talk to you guys for forever, and this will be on one of the longer end episodes, which is totally fine. And I think this has been so helpful. But I want to just kind of set it up that we're listening. We're all right now thinking about those listening to this podcast, and they haven't been exposed to what you have, and they are opening up to the fact that maybe they think I need that or I want that. What would you say now that you, I guess, are on the inside, right? What would you say to someone who's thinking of joining or thinking of even just making that action to see or learn more details about what life coaching can do for them. And so what would you say to them? Just want you to offer that now that you are on the inside. Natalie?
Yes. I moms are going to start by coming to you because they're wanting peace and they're wanting to be less overwhelmed and change those feelings. And they're going to find that as they join Busy to Balanced. But what I didn't expect was how much more I was going to get from that. And that more came from the tools that I was learning in coaching. That came from the relationship that I've built with you and the trust that I have in you, and the ability to open up and ask hard questions and be vulnerable. It's been the community. That one was really unexpected for me. I mean, all of us were all over the country. I live in a different country, and we come together on our calls, and we really are one powerful unit of women. And that has been really incredible for me. So I came in thinking I was just going to gain a couple of things, and I have gained a whole community and new set of skills and confidence by joining the program.
Yes. I love that because I can't sometimes in that one call be able to explain and help you understand how much there is offered on the inside. So you just kind of sum that up, that there's, even if you just got those first couple tools, they still would be life-changing, but there is so much more inside. Yeah.
It just keeps getting better.
Oh, okay. Emily, I'm going to ask you next. What would you say to that mom out there who wants, who thinks like, I want that, but has all kinds of obstacles come up that's saying that now's not the time or she shouldn't? Go ahead.
One of the things that you preach in the program is self-care. Self-care from everything from getting a massage, getting your nails done, going to the doctors. And you know what? Having some people go to a social worker, psychologist, a life coach, I would put someone like you on that level to help with your mental health. And our mothers and our grandmothers never did that. And they thought it was wrong. They went to the doctor only if they were dying. And they got their nails done if somebody was getting married. And your hair done only if there's a wedding, which is every 5 years. So this program, if you want to take care of yourself, then you can take care of your family, and you feel it now. Because even my husband goes for massages and manicures.
Lucky him. Yeah.
And people think, that's wrong or that's selfish. That old generation has to feel, and self-care is more, it's the physical, it's the mental, I was finding comfort over shopping. And then Danielle showed me that's a comfort that marketing and everybody's forcing you to do. You could spend that money on your nails or coaching, or you could always manage your monies to and you get all types of self-care. And we go to the doctors and stuff, they help me. So my health is my physical's improved since I've been with you, Danielle. I think my mental health has improved. I have diabetes. It's going down. I'm losing weight. Everyone at work is saying how I'm doing. Well, I mean, Mama, why do you go for a massage? What do you need a massage for? I never taught you that. You're right. You never did that yourself, Mom. You never took, but God bless it. But that was that whole different generation. I didn't even have nail salons back then,
I love it. So exactly what you're pointing out. Yes, us moms, just even like Ashley said, that order we talk about is most of us are putting our children first, but we've also been taught and by example, or we relate that to something about making us more worthy or more good. But what I want to help you see, and yeah, we do talk about self-care a lot. When you commit to coaching, this is mental, emotional, spiritual, and then even as Emily pointed out, physical well-being. Coaching raises all of those. And notice how when you make a commitment to the hour coaching session, when you come, you will prioritize yourself and you will reorder things. And then you get yourself filled up And that's how you become the mom you want to be. That's how you become that version. And then, just like you said, the best thing for your family is because then you become the impact. So I love that, Emily. Okay, we're going to finish up here. Brenna, we'll just finish up. What would you say to someone who is thinking about joining? There we go.
I would say it's 100% worth it. I think what you think you can do by yourself is not the same as getting the coaching. I know you've coached me on being able to get that time by myself, to find that time. So even if you're not sure if you can do it or find the time, I think Danielle could coach you to be able to find that time. But also just being in the group community. When I signed up, I hadn't really thought about the benefits of hearing from all the other ladies and what they bring to the table each week. And so I do think doing the group calls, first of all, it is kind of exciting to see who's going to be on the call and what are they going to bring this week. And every time I hear what someone else is bringing, I'm questioning myself, well, what is Danielle even going to say to this? Because I have no idea what I would say to help them. And so I'm always surprised by what you say. And so when you coach someone else, I feel like I get a lot of benefit from that too. And so even if I'm just listening to a replay and I can't actually make it to a coaching call, I will hear some of what you had said and see it throughout my week in my situations and bring it for the rest of the week in my own family. And so there's a lot of benefit. And I would just say, don't put it off.
So good. Thank you, Brenna. All right, ladies, I cannot thank you enough. Before we go, is there any last minute, anything that somebody didn't get a chance to say? Yeah, Natalie.
I just want to add to what I finished off or what I said at the end. I know it's hard to make that leap to talk to your husband or partner about making the financial commitment to the coaching. And that was something that I was really nervous about. But if I could go back and tell myself a year ago what my husband was going to say now, I would have no hesitation to ask him, because our marriage is stronger. And he tells me all the time, I see a difference in you. Is that something that you talked about in coaching? And that has strengthened our marriage. And he supports it 100% because of the changes that he sees in me.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that. Again, like I just said, guys, I just thank you so much for taking your time to share your insights. I know that it will inspire other moms. And again, that I tell you all the time, I hope you know that I love you all so much. So again, thank you for being here, everyone. I hope you enjoyed hearing from these amazing ladies today. And I hope you found some insight, some encouragement, maybe some inspiration for yourself. And as always, I thank you for being such an amazing part of this journey yourselves by coming and listening to the podcast and sharing it with other moms as well. And until next week, peace be with you always. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of the Peaceful Mind podcast. If you found value in today's episode, I'd be so grateful if you could subscribe and leave a review. It not only supports the podcast, but ensures you don't miss out on future episodes packed with insights and tools to create peace of mind in your busy mom life. And if you're of the Catholic faith like me or any Christian mom seeking to feel better in any area of your life and to show up more calm, connected, and confident, I can help. Become an empowered mom who knows how to bring about the changes you desire, no matter the circumstances. Whether you need one-on-one guidance to get there, prefer a group coaching program with like-minded women, or a self-study course, I've got you covered. Explore my private one-on-one packages, join my Busy to Balance group life coaching program, or delve into my signature course, Divine Time. To find out which path is right for you, let's meet and see what's the best fit. Schedule a free call with me at danielleteenel.com or send me a direct message on Facebook or Instagram at Danielle Teenel Coaching. And also, don't forget to get your copy of my book, The Cyclone Mom Method: how to call on your God-given power to remain calm, in control, and confident as a busy mom. Dive into the digital and bonus audio version when you go to book.danielletino.com/new-book. You'll find all the details in the show notes too. Until next time, peace be with you always.